What if you could get way more done, but without having to find more discipline? Well, today we are diving into a system for what I'd call effortless productivity. It's all based on one big idea. Stop trying to force yourself to work, and instead, design a system that pretty much does the work for you. Let's get into it.
And look, this isn't just some nice, feel-good idea. We're talking about real research from MIT that found people who actually take the time to design their work environment get a whopping 2.3 times more done. We're talking about the same number of hours, but with way less burnout. That is a serious advantage.
So here's the core promise of all of this. We're going to build a system that works for you. Even if you feel kind of lazy sometimes, or you get distracted super easily, or maybe you just hate those really rigid routines. This is all about making productivity the absolute path of least resistance. Now, to really understand why this system works so well, we first have to look at the trap that, let's be honest, most of us fall right into. It's this constant battle between two totally different ways of getting things done.
So on one side, you have the design-driven person. They've basically engineered their environment so that the productive thing to do is also the easiest thing to do. Their work almost feels automatic. But then, on the other side, you have the willpower-driven person. You know this person. They are constantly fighting distractions, battling their phone, just relying on sheer discipline. And you know what the problem is? Discipline is like a battery. It runs out. And when it does, usually around mid-afternoon, the work just stops. You've got the same amount of talent, but you're getting half the results and carrying twice the guilt. And don't just take my word for it. There's some serious science here. Stanford's Behavior Design Lab proved that our willpower is incredibly fragile. It pretty much taps out after just 2 or 3 big decisions. But a well-designed system, that thing never gets tired. So it becomes crystal clear, right? The solution isn't to just dig deeper and find more discipline. It's to build a smarter system. And we're going to do that right now with 3 simple laws you can install today. So let's get right into the first law, start scenes. This one tackles the single biggest hurdle in all of productivity, just getting started. I mean, think about it. The average person can waste over 20 minutes just deciding what to do and finding the right files. A start scene completely fixes that.
So what is a start scene? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It is a one-click button that instantly launches your entire workspace for a specific task. I'm talking documents, websites, apps, everything, all laid out perfectly in under 3 seconds. No decisions, 0 friction, you just click and you're already working. And here's how you build one. It's just 3 easy steps. First, you're going to pick your 3 main work modes. Something like writing, research, and maybe admin. Step 2, set up the perfect screen layout for each of those modes. So for writing, that might be a blank document on the left and your research notes on the right. Then finally, you save that whole layout as a one-click shortcut. You can use a free tool like Bunch if you're on a Mac or Auto Hotkey for Windows. The psychological shift here is huge. You go from asking, what should I do now? To thinking, oh, I'm already doing it.
Okay, up next is law number 2, velvet rope mornings. This is all about protecting your most valuable asset, your brain's peak focus time, which for most of us is right after we wake up.
And here's why this is so critical. Neuroscience studies show that your prefrontal cortex, that's the part of your brain that handles deep focus and planning, is at its absolute peak for the first 2 to 3 hours of your day. After that, its effectiveness can drop by up to 40%. So if you spend that peak time scrolling through your phone, you've basically just given away your best hours to somebody else's agenda.
A velvet rope morning puts this protective barrier around that peak brain state. And it has one simple, non-negotiable rule. Your phone simply does not exist until your first block of real, deep work is finished. That's it. So simple, but so powerful. So here's the system to make it happen. Step 1, charging exile. Your phone does not charge next to your bed. It charges across the room. This forces you to actually get up to turn off your alarm instead of just rolling over and starting to scroll. Step 2 is the first hour script. Have a pre-written, no-decision routine ready to go. Maybe it's get water, take a 10-minute walk, sit down and launch your writing start scene. And step 3, airplane mode until the win. Your phone stays completely offline until you've knocked out at least one solid 45-minute focus session. This design just wipes out decision fatigue and keeps your brain in go mode.
And now for our third and final law, the friction flip. This is where we get a little sneaky, and we actively rig our environment to make distractions harder to get to, and productive work way, way easier to start.
So, get this. Research from a behavioral economist at Harvard found something amazing. Just by adding 20 seconds of friction to a bad habit, a tiny little delay, you can completely change your behavior.
And how much of a change are we talking about? That tiny 20-second barrier cuts the unwanted behavior in half. A 50% reduction. This is the whole idea behind the friction flip. Make your distractions slower and make your work faster. So here's how you put this into action. First, bury your dopamine apps. You know the ones, social media, news, games. Move them to the last page on your phone and add a screen time delay. A lot of the time, your brain will just give up before the app even loads. Second, elevate your do apps. Put things like your notes app or your calendar right on your main dock for one-tap access. You can even create a separate work Wi-Fi network that automatically blocks distracting sites. And of course, the simplest flip of them all, just physically place your phone out of arm's reach. Your brain follows the path of least resistance, not force. But let's be real. What about those days when your energy is just in the gutter? A truly effortless system has to work even on those days. This is where the last piece of the puzzle comes in. It's called the lazy ladder, and it is designed to kill that all-or-nothing trap we all fall into.
For any important task you have, you're going to predefine 3 levels of completion. A low-energy 2-minute version, like just write 1 paragraph or just do 10 push-ups. Then there's a medium-energy 15-minute version. And finally, a high-energy 45-minute version. So when you sit down, you just ask yourself, which rung of the ladder can I actually manage right now? Even on your absolute worst day, you can do the 2-minute version. And according to research, those tiny little actions build incredible momentum. 2 minutes often turns into 15, but even if it doesn't, 2 minutes always beats 0. So let's wrap this all up. Here's your new system. You've got law number 1, start scenes to kill that startup friction. Law number 2, velvet rope mornings to protect your best brain power. Law number 3, the friction flip to make work easy and distractions hard. And then you have the lazy ladder to make sure this system works every single day, no matter what. When you install these laws, you really do change your entire relationship with work. You'll find yourself getting so much more done without actually trying harder because you're not fighting yourself anymore. There's no discipline required, and there's no guilt on those off days. There is just good design. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. So often we blame ourselves, our lack of focus, our procrastination, our so-called laziness. But what if the biggest thing standing in your way isn't you at all, but just a poorly designed system? What could you actually get done if you just changed the design?